The Hartwell Hotel's penthouse event space overlooked the downtown skyline. 200 guests celebrated my brother Tyler's promotion to senior vice president at Meridian Financial Group. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the city lights, champagne flowed freely, and everyone wore designer suits that cost more than most people's monthly rent. I stood near the dessert table in my tailor dress and practical flats, holding ginger ale while my family networked with Tyler's colleagues and clients. Emma. Mom's voice carried that familiar tone, the one that meant she'd already apologized for my presence. Come meet Mr. Peterson. He's on Meridian's executive board. I walked over, adjusting the property management credentials badge I'd tucked into my clutch. Nobody had questioned why I had building access credentials. They probably assumed I worked venue staff. Mr. Peterson. I shook his hand. Your mother tells me you work in property management? Yes, commercial real estate. Still. Tyler appeared with his wife Ashley, both dressed like they'd stepped out of Forbes magazine. At 34, Tyler had climbed Meridian Financial's ladder quickly, starting as an analyst, now SVP overseeing their investment division. Emma's been working as a building manager for 8 years now? Same apartment complex in Riverside. 9 years, I corrected quietly. 9 years managing the same small apartment building. Tyler shook his head for Mr. Peterson's benefit. We keep telling her she could do more. Our father offered her a position at Brennan Properties. Real commercial real estate working with office towers and retail spaces. She turned him down. I prefer my current position. Managing a 12-unit apartment building? Ashley's diamond bracelet caught the light. Emma honey, that's not a career. That's barely a job. You're basically a landlord collecting rent checks. Polite laughter from the assembled executives. Tyler has a corner office on the 42nd floor, Mom added, trying to redirect. Floor-to-ceiling windows, view of the entire city. Show them the photos, Tyler. Tyler pulled out his phone, displaying images of his impressive workspace. This is real success. Premium office space in the Hamilton Tower, the most prestigious address downtown. Meridian leases 6 floors. We just signed a 10-year extension. How wonderful, I said quietly. Meanwhile, Emma lives in a 1-bedroom apartment in Riverside. My sister Jessica chimed in, joining our circle with her investment banker husband. Same place she's had since college. She could afford better if she'd take a real job, but she insists on this property management thing. My phone buzzed in my clutch. I ignored it. I offered her $60,000 a year, Dad said, appearing with his signature bourbon. At 63, Robert Brennan ran Brennan Properties, a small commercial real estate firm managing strip malls and small office buildings. Assistant property manager position, benefits, room for advancement. He said no. Wanted to stay independent. How much do you make managing apartments, Emma? Tyler's colleague asked. $40,000? $50 with the free rent they probably give you. I don't discuss my salary. Because it's embarrassing, Ashley Stage whispered to the woman next to her. Property managers make nothing. She probably qualifies for food stamps. More laughter. My phone buzzed again. Then again. That's probably a tenant calling about a clogged toilet, Tyler joked. Emma's very hands-on with maintenance issues. Gets called at all hours. I pulled out my phone. 7 missed calls from the same number. Meridian Financial's director of operations. Then Mr. Peterson's phone rang. He glanced at the screen and frowned. It's Gregory, our operations director. He knows I'm at Tyler's celebration. He answered, stepping toward the window. Gregory, this better be urgent. What? His expression shifted. What do you mean lease renewal? We handled that months ago. The landlord confirmed. He stopped mid-sentence, listening. No, I understand we're in the Hamilton Tower. Obviously I know that. Pause. Well, find out who owns it. We need that lease finalized before the current one expires. When does it expire? Another pause. His face went pale. 34 days? How did we cut it this close? I opened my property management app. The screen displayed exactly what I expected. Hamilton Tower, Meridian Financial Group. Lease status. Expires in 34 days. Square footage. 127,000, floors 40 to 45. Current annual rent. $6.3 m. Renewal proposal. Pending review. Owner, Brennan Property Holdings LLC. I watched Mr. Peterson's face cycle through confusion and concern. What do you mean the owner wants to discuss terms? We've been perfect tenants for 6 years. Our rent is... He listened, his jaw tightening. $6.3 million annually. I know what we pay. But the market rate is... Yes, I'm aware other buildings are charging more. That's why we want to renew. Gregory, just find out who we need to talk to and schedule a meeting. My phone rang. Gregory, the operations director. I answered. Hello, Gregory. Mr. Peterson spun around, staring at me. Yes, I received your renewal proposal, I said calmly. I have some concerns about the terms Meridian is requesting. Emma. Tyler grabbed my arm. How do you know Greg? Why is Meridian's operations director calling you? I held up one finger, continuing my conversation. The current lease expires December 15th. Your proposal requests a 10-year extension at the same rate. I'm considering other options. Emma. Tyler's voice cracked. What is happening? I lowered the phone. Gregory is calling about the Hamilton Tower lease renewal. Meridian Financial's lease expires in 34 days. The celebration noise around us died. Tyler's champagne glass tilted, spilling on his designer suit. The Hamilton Tower lease? How do you know about our company's lease? Because I own the Hamilton Tower. Meridian Financial has been my tenant for 6 years. Mom's wine glass slipped from her hand, shattering on the marble floor. You own. Tyler's voice came out strangled. The Hamilton Tower? That's a 48-story Class A office building. You manage a 12-unit apartment complex. I own a 12-unit apartment building. I also own the Hamilton Tower, 3 other downtown office buildings, 2 mixed-use developments, and a portfolio of commercial properties across the metro area. Ashley sat down heavily in the nearest chair. Dad stepped forward, bourbon forgotten. Emma, what are you talking about? The Hamilton Tower is owned by some big investment company. I looked into buying it years ago. It was valued at over $90 million. $97 million when I purchased it 7 years ago. Current valuation is $132 million. Mr. Peterson was staring at his phone. Gregory just sent me the ownership records. Brennan Property Holdings LLC. Owner listed as. He looked up at me. Emma Brennan, age 32. That's me. Tyler grabbed my phone, staring at the property management app. This shows 6 different buildings. Tenant lists, lease agreements, maintenance schedules. You own all of these? Yes. Jessica pulled out her own phone, frantically searching. Brennan Property Holdings. Commercial real estate investment and management. Portfolio value estimated at. Her face went white. $240 million. The number landed like a bomb in the silent room. $240 million? Dad's bourbon glass trembled. That's impossible. You live in a 1-bedroom apartment. You drive a 2017 Toyota. The apartment is in a building I own in Riverside. It's convenient and close to my downtown office. The Toyota is reliable. I also have a Range Rover and a Porsche, but I prefer not to attract attention when inspecting properties. Tyler was scrolling through the app with shaking hands. Meridian Financial pays you $6.3 million a year in rent? Yes. You're my 3rd largest tenant. Anderson Tech on floors 32 through 38 pays $7.1 million. Hartwell Medical Group pays $8.2 million across 2 buildings. We've been paying our rent to you for 6 years? Mr. Peterson's voice barely registered. Through your accounting department, yes. Monthly wire transfers to Brennan Property Holdings. Ashley's voice came out as a whisper. How many properties do you own? 17 commercial buildings. 8 are fully leased office towers. 6 are mixed-use retail and office. 3 are under renovation for new tenants. How is this possible? Mom demanded. You have a degree in business from state, not real estate. You've never worked for a development company. I worked for Morrison Properties for 3 years after college. I learned commercial real estate from the ground up. Leasing, tenant relations, property management, investment analysis. Then I started acquiring properties myself. Dad grabbed Tyler's phone, looking at the app. When did you buy the Hamilton Tower? 7 years ago. Morrison was selling it. I'd been saving, I took out a commercial mortgage and I made the purchase. Paid it off in 4 years. You paid off a $97 million building? Jessica's voice pitched higher. The building generates income. Rental revenue pays down debt. It's basic real estate investment. Mr. Peterson pulled up his own phone. I'm looking at Brennan Property Holdings corporate filings. You own this company outright? No partners, no investors. Correct. I founded it 9 years ago with my first property acquisition. A small office building in the suburbs. I scaled up from there. Tyler set down his champagne flute with a sharp click. The apartment building in Riverside. The one we thought was your employer. Is my first property. I still manage it personally. 12 units, all long-term tenants. It taught me everything about being a good landlord. You let us think you worked for someone else, Ashley accused. You assumed I worked for someone else. I never corrected you because every time I mentioned my properties, you treated it like I was delusional. It was easier to let you think I was a building manager than defend my success to people who refused to see it. Gregory called Mr. Peterson back. He answered on speaker. Sir, I spoke with the property owner. She's reviewing multiple proposals for the Hamilton Tower space. Apparently, 3 other companies have approached her about leasing floors 40 through 45 when our lease expires. Tyler's face went pale. Other companies? You're considering replacing us. I pulled up another screen on my phone. Anderson Tech wants to expand. They've offered $8.7 million annually for your 6 floors. Sterling Investments offered $8.2 million. Hartwell Medical wants to consolidate all their offices in one building. They've proposed $9.1 million. $9 million. Mr. Peterson's voice cracked. That's a 43% increase over our current rent. That's current market rate for Class A downtown office space. Your lease was signed 6 years ago when rates were lower. You'd kick us out? Tyler grabbed the back of a chair. My corner office, my team's 6 floors of operations, you just replace us? You're requesting a 10-year renewal at below market rates. I'm a business owner evaluating the best use of my property. That's what real estate investment requires. Dad's voice was steel now. Emma, this is your brother's company. You can't destroy his career over market rates. Tyler's career depends on his performance, not his office location. Meridian Financial can lease space in any building downtown. My decision about the Hamilton Tower is based on maximizing asset value. We're family. Mom protested. Family that spent 9 years pitying my apartment life, while I built a commercial real estate portfolio worth over $200 million. Family that assumed I was collecting rent checks in a 12-unit building when I was actually managing 17 properties and negotiating 8-figure leases. The penthouse had gone completely silent. 200 guests watching our family drama unfold. Tyler found his voice. What do you want, Emma? An apology? You have it. We were wrong. Now please, tell me we're not losing our office space. I want Meridian Financial to submit a competitive renewal proposal. Market rate terms. 10-year lease at $8.5 million annually with standard escalation clauses. That's $2.2 million more per year. That's what the space is worth. Anderson Tech, Sterling Investments and Hartwell Medical all agree. If Meridian can't meet market rates, I have 3 other tenants ready to sign. Mr. Peterson stepped forward. Ms. Brennan, surely we can negotiate. We've been excellent tenants. Always paid on time, maintained the space beautifully. All of which I appreciate. But business decisions aren't based on sentiment. They're based on returns. Your proposal offers below market rent for prime downtown space. That's not a viable business decision for me. Dad's face had gone from pale to gray. You'd really evict your own brother's company? I'd make the same decision I'd make for any tenant requesting below market renewal terms. Tyler's employment at Meridian doesn't change the fundamentals of commercial real estate investment. Tyler sat down next to Ashley, both of them looking stunned. 9 years. You've owned this building for most of my time at Meridian. You knew I worked here. You came to my promotion parties, my office celebrations. You never said anything. You never asked. In 6 years of working in the Hamilton Tower, you never once looked closely at your lease documents to see who owned the building. You never wondered why the property management company had the same last name as yours. Jessica was reading something on her phone. There are articles about you. Commercial Real Estate Weekly did a feature on young investors reshaping downtown. They interviewed you about strategic property acquisition. 3 years ago, yes. We never saw it, Mom whispered. Because you assumed any article about Emma Brennan in real estate was someone else. You never looked close enough to see my photo, read my company's story, understand what I'd built while you were pitying my apartment life. The celebration meant to honor Tyler's success had become something else entirely. Mr. Peterson cleared his throat. Ms. Brennan, I'd like to schedule a formal meeting to discuss renewal terms. Would Monday work? My assistant can schedule something. Email the office. We'll come with a competitive proposal. Good. I'm considering all offers equally. Best terms win the lease. Tyler's voice was hollow. You'd really let market rates determine if I keep my corner office? Your corner office exists in a building I own as an investment property. Yes, market rates determine leasing decisions. That's how commercial real estate works. The same principles Dad tried to teach you about business. I just applied them to a larger scale. Larger scale, Dad repeated. $240 million. How did we not see this? Because you were looking at my Toyota and my one-bedroom apartment. You saw what you expected to see, the daughter who never lived up to her potential. You never saw the property owner who was signing your son's rent checks every month. Mom grabbed my hand. Emma, please. We made mistakes. But you can't punish Tyler's entire company because we underestimated you. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm running my business professionally. Meridian can meet market terms or find alternative space. Those are the same options every company faces when leases expire. Ashley stood abruptly. This is insane. You're talking about displacing 200 employees, disrupting operations, destroying Tyler's career. I'm talking about leasing 6 floors of premium office space to the tenant who offers the best terms. If Meridian values the location, they'll pay for it. If they don't, I have other options. That's business, Ashley. Not insanity. Just economics. Tyler pulled out his phone. I need to call our CFO. We need to run numbers on whether we can afford $8.5 million annually. Take your time. You have 34 days. 34 days to come up with an extra $2 million per year in budget? 34 days to decide if the Hamilton Tower is worth market rates. That's more time than most tenants get. Mr. Peterson was already on his phone, stepping away to make calls. Dad looked at me with something between shock and respect. When did you become this ruthless? I'm not ruthless. I'm professional. You taught me that business requires tough decisions. I learned. I just applied those lessons to my own portfolio instead of yours. I offered you a job. At $60,000 a year to be an assistant property manager. Meanwhile, I was collecting $6.3 million annually from Tyler's company alone. I didn't need your job, Dad. I needed you to see that I'd built something bigger than you imagined possible. The silence stretched. Finally, Tyler spoke quietly. What happens now? Now you celebrate your promotion. You've earned it. After that, Meridian's leadership decides if they want to meet my terms or relocate. And our family decides if they want a relationship with the real Emma or if they preferred the struggling apartment manager they invented. Emma, Mom started. Enjoy the party. The penthouse view really is spectacular from up here. I walked toward the exit, aware of 200 pairs of eyes following me. The daughter who lived in a tiny apartment. The sister who never achieved real success. The woman who just revealed she owned the tower her brother worked in. My phone buzzed. Text from Tyler, we'll meet your terms. Please don't lease to anyone else. Another from Mr. Peterson, scheduling meeting Monday. Will come with competitive proposal. I didn't respond to either. Monday was soon enough. I had properties to manage and a family to decide about. Behind me, through the windows, the Hamilton Tower stood illuminated against the night sky. 48 floors of prime real estate. My real estate. Let them look at it differently now.